Thank you all so much for being here today. My name is Kate Hinchy. I'm a reporter with The Real Deal, and I'm really excited to be moderating this panel today. Miami is one of the design capitals of the world. Its architecture and aesthetics are beautiful, distinct, and they shape the city's identity. And yes, it's nice to make things pretty, but design is really driving the business of real estate. And design is what sets apart the ultra luxury from the average. And there's dollars on the line in that distinction. So today we're going to explore the intersection of business and design. We've got Pascal Nicolai, who has made a career building homes for South Florida's luxury buyers under the Sable Development banner. I've lost track of how many homes you've built in Miami Beach at this point.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. And we also have Max Strang, who was the American Institute of Architects Miami Architect of the Year in 2022. He is a leader in the environmental modernism movement. You might know his celebrated rock house in Coconut Grove. And he also designed the Lagos Island home James Kernan sold earlier this year for $60 million. And then way down at the end, we have Ralph Choeff, a founding partner with the architecture firm Choeff Levy Fishman. He's been shaping the tropical modern architecture movement for more than 40 years and is today designing some of the most high-profile single-family homes on the market. If you have ever driven by David and Victoria Beckham's home on North Bay Road, you are familiar with his work. So to kick us off, we're all well aware that the pandemic triggered kind of an unprecedented wealth migration to South Florida. Your clients have never been wealthier. What's different about designing and building luxury homes today than 10 or 15 years ago?
Is that one for me?
Yeah, you can start us off.
Yeah, so you're right. 5 years ago or so, the pandemic ushered in a whole new world of clients. Not that the current client base didn't have a lot of sophistication, but I think it upped the level. And these clients want what they want, and they'll pay for what they want. And I think that is what has just driven, it's driven the architects and designers here and the builders to provide even better stuff, better design. And people, I think the numbers speak for themselves. They want what they want, and they're willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Willing to pay for it is very true. I don't know, do you, Pascal or Ralph, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, so me, I'm like on the middle of this business because I'm builder and I'm developer and I sell. So it means I face the buyer. So I saw the evolution of the what people want and what buyer like love in the house. And it's true that recently, since a couple of years after COVID, we saw a lot of educated buyers coming and very attentive of finishes, of design, and like even like furnitures, decorating, all this like package bring a good buyer and bring good price for sale. Of course, house with finish and furnish sell better than house with not even furnish.
Moi? Clients today are more demanding. They want the all-in-one house that they never have to leave for any reason. And so in their house, if you can get a bowling alley, you get a bowling alley. If you get a shooting range, you get a shooting range. Right, Paul? And my business partner is here. He designed for us the $289 million home in Manalapan, Paul Fishman. And again, they want all the technology, everything at their fingertips. So the client of the 90s and the clients of the 2000s is not the same client as 2025.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that Manalapan project. So for those of you who aren't familiar, Ralph's firm has designed one of the most expensive homes on the market in the US today. It's listed for $285 million. It has water frontage on either side of the property. I think it's 50,000 square feet on 4 acres. It's just a monster estate. How do you approach designing a project of that scale and that ambitious in its pricing? It's looking to set a record.
Well, I'm going to answer that question, but the person that should be answering that question is sitting right over there. But I'll try to answer it as much as possible. So you have a client that comes to you and says, I want a house that I can sell for X amount of dollars. But in this house, I want to have all these things, and I mentioned before, a bowling alley, a shooting range, everything, anything you can imagine. The master suite is beyond somebody's dream. There's a pool that has that's an 80-foot pool that has acrylic that faces the intercoastal. There's a car garage downstairs. It's not a car garage, it's a car museum. And it has all glass also facing the intercoastal. So to give the boater kind of an experience looking at the house itself. I mean, you put all these things together and you can sell something. So that, these are the things that are not normal and common to the average person, but somebody in the stratosphere financially, that's what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this can be a question for you and for Max, but designing for that person and at that scale, is there an added pressure there for you on the project?
There's only excitement. I got to tell you, the second that you start thinking of this as pressure is the second you're going to lose as the architect. So you have excitement there. You want to do it. And now you have to figure out how to do it. And keeping up with today's times. So no, that's just only excitement.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that, Max? Pressure versus excitement?
I'll piggyback on the excitement part of it. Our firm is a creatively driven firm, and we find a lot of that same excitement. We just finished a ranch near Okeechobee and some smaller 1,800 square foot homes, We can get as much enjoyment and excitement out of those as the larger Miami homes. I think the excitement for me comes from variety. If you look at our portfolio, I think you see a wide spectrum of, I wouldn't say styles, because there's a DNA that flows through all of it. But I think there's just a wide array of results. And those results come from listening to our clients. Most of our projects are for that end user, probably 75%. Another 25% may be for spec or some other type of project. But in our experience, we get excited working with most of our clients, not all of them. Some of them can drive us crazy, but by and large, I think, Miami, people are excited to be here. Those new people are excited to be here, and they're excited for that outdoor lifestyle part. And that's where doing architecture in Miami allows us to create those outdoor spaces that in other parts of the country you wouldn't do. So I think we're already have some excitement baked in.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of ties into another question I had for all three of you is I think one of the challenges of what you all do is building for an unknown person, designing for an unknown person. Homes are so personal. How do you think about, creating a home for someone you don't know, who's kind of this mystery figure in the future that you hope will give you tens of millions of dollars?
So this is more my job because I'm not designing for final clients because I didn't sell the house already. So what I'm doing is I imagine who's going to live inside this house. What's going to be a family, depend of the location. So is Miami Beach was one type of client, is Manalapan, because matter of fact, I'm doing one in Manalapan, just like few meters from a few feet from the $208 million house. And this is the same. We don't know who's going to buy it. It's going to be $80 million house. Mm-hmm. But we are designing this house, finishing this house, like we imagine what the future here in the area, who wants to live there, because now everybody knows that Florida is not anymore second houses, is a main house. People live all year long. And what Max saying is true, is now we are like creating design vibes, which is more important is the vibes, floor plan, of course, architecture, but vibes, floor plan and finishes, decorating. And what we want is when the buyers coming in the house, he feel home, even it is not his house yet. And he stay like hours inside and say, oh, I love this house. I love this jacuzzi. Oh, I love this bully alley. Oh, I love this like gym. So we try to make spec house very personal. So for instance, small things, we are doing gym, and all the gym equipment is going to be branded on the name of the house. So the idea is to, when you go inside the house, you feel the vibe. And I think as today market is vibe because our prices are very high, 80 million, we're talking 50 million, 60, 200, which is like crazy money to have a house, but you need to deliver the beyond expectation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Ralph, how do you think about that mystery person you're designing for?
Well, first you talk to them, and you feel them out, and you both come up with a program of what you're going to do. And as you're talking to them, they start telling you things about their life that's important to them. And as they do that, you're keeping notes and writing everything down. And when you're designing, you're taking their life into account. So it's not only designing for the person, it's designing for their life. Max said something before that's very important. It's as exciting to design an 1,800 square foot house as it is to design a house in the tens of the thousands of square feet. Because you're designing for an individual and you want to make that individual happy. And you want to be creative at the same time. So it's not, no client is more important than the other. Your tens of millions of dollars of clients is the same as one that's a lot less. So, yeah, so as you speak to them, you're getting what their lifestyle is like, and then you get to design to meet their lifestyle and maximize.
Yeah, that kind of touches on another thing I wanted to ask you all about, which is, you know, when you're at the outset of a project, like say Pascal, you hire Max, you know, buy a lot and you hire Max, and you're having that first conversation. Can you like take us into that room and what you're talking about and how you're considering, you know, design versus profit margins?
Yeah, so basically when I'm seeing or Ralph or Max or any architect, I already have my idea on what I want there. So if I want like contemporary or modern, so I get the idea. I got the idea on the view that I want. I got the idea on the plan. You know. So saying this, so the architects are building this idea into houses, and then we are working on a floor plan, because what is very important now in construction, in development, and to sell, because I'm facing the buyer, right? So I'm the one who's, when I put my money on the table, I want to sell because I cannot afford to have the house sitting for years and don't sell. So my focus is what makes the buyer buy my house. So first of all is three components. The architecture, which is like brilliant architect. There is no question. Every house is beautiful design. The number two is the floor plan, which is how you walk in the house and how you feel when you walk. Let's say too much corridor, not enough corridor, the door open close to the toilet or whatever it is. All this floor plan is very important. And the last things that it was not important before is the interior design, one sure, but decoration is where you have the action to buy. I got stories of when I've had a house in Island Beach on the beach. I did a house for $30 million. I didn't bring the furniture because they're on the way. I make a showing, and the guy said, no, the house, is not like ready. I don't want to move in. 2 weeks after I put all the furniture, decorated, frame and stuff, I sell next day.
Yeah.
Because they don't have imagination, they need to feel it, and it's a big number. So they agree to pay, they agree to overpay if the job is beautiful, and the last thing, very well executed. This is one of the most important because buyers that are coming for $40 million or 50, and we are talking about this guy who buy on Northbury Road, and they come with friends, they are designers, they are architects, things need to be impeccable. And this is what we try to do because we are vertical, so we build, we design, we decor, and we sell.
Yeah.
And we face the buyer, and we do the after sale. This is the most important.
Yeah. So you're saying you could get a house designed by Ralph, but if it's built by the wrong team, it's not executed well, you're not gonna get the max price.
For sure, because be in the place of the buyer. When he go in and he saw a tile or wood floor or not good installation, proper installation, he's gonna say, "Oh, all the house is bad." Mm-hmm. No matter what who designed it, I'm doing one. I did one from Max. I'm doing one for Ralph, which is beautiful. But if you want to maximize your income, you need to do very good quality, beyond expectation, on execution of the work, which is the most important, one of the most important as today.
Mm-hmm. And going back to the question of design consideration versus profit costs of a project, I mean, Max, what perspective are you bringing into that conversation as the architect?
Sorry, I didn't quite get that. What am I?
Design considerations versus, profit and...
Design considerations versus profit. I think ultimately we want to make our client, be it a spec developer or a family of 5 from wherever, we want to make them happy. I think our process is very collaborative, right? So we will take the wish list and the ideas, and then we merge it with our own firm's creative thinking, and hopefully come up with something that's really unique. We have a lot of people come to us and say, "Oh, I love that home that you did here. I want one of those." And I'm like, "Well, we designed that 10 years ago. Yes, it's timeless, but we always kind of want to push design forward, right?" So I think that's where coming in with just an open mind and a lot of creativity is important.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Ralph?
I mean, I think you have to have an owner that's pragmatic and understands that sometimes the wish list doesn't meet the budget. And sometimes they want to spend X
That's
amount of
90% of the time, I think, right?
Correct. And I think that's where the architect has to be its most creative, because, and sometimes we don't succeed all the time because the owner stays to what they want, but it can't be done for the price they want to do it. And they've got to be pragmatic and realistic about it. So as Max as an architect will absolutely 100% know, it is very common.
And we have a business to run as well, right? And so in the effort and spirit of making the clients happy, you have to be very strategic how we use our time, right? And if we sense that there's an impossible matchup of budget and program, you have to have those decisions up front, or else we're wasting everybody's time and everybody's money.
Is the reason why we have our client comes to me and they say, "You know what? I make the budget to my house is over my budget, over my money. Can you buy it?" And I say yes, and then here we are.
But I will tell you this, surprisingly so, and Pascal knows this, the buyers of today will spend a lot more money than you think they will. And certain let's say residences or buildings are put up at a certain price. You say, I don't know, we'll get this price, but we'll settle for this price. But they get it. They get it. And an example of it is the Beckhams spent $72.5 million for the house we designed on in North Bay Road. It was a collaborative between Raphael Levy and myself on that house.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It seems like the price ceiling has just been kind of blown off. I've heard of people spending $2 million alone on the marble for a bathroom, and not even the main bathroom. Is that when budgets are kind of limitless like that, does that open things up more for you guys? Have you found yourselves being more creative because this market has just been so on fire?
I don't know about more creative, but you could be more creative, absolutely. But you have the license to go further than you think you can go, and you can push the envelope as far as you can push it. And if the owner loves it, and you go ahead and you do it, and believe me, if it's a spec home, it'll sell for more than the developer thinks it's going to sell for.
And before sale, you need to respect one rules, because you can overbuild any houses, but if you don't have a good location, and if you overbuild, you're never going to sell it. So the rules number one is location. And then from this location, you can build like extraordinary things, because buyer, when they're billionaire, a couple of $1 million, even $10 million doesn't change anything for them. What it changes the location and what you did with this location.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll just add one thing that we're seeing a lot too. We'll be working with an owner, an end user, for several years, designing, permitting, building. They move in, the realtors swarm them, and they end up selling their forever house because these values are just going up through the roof. I think probably 4 or 5 of our clients thought they were going to be living in their house, and they love it, but sometimes the money talks. So we're seeing that a lot just because of the increase in property values.
Yeah.
And it's also the time, to do something really unique. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of perseverance. And some people moving to the area don't want to do any of the heavy lifting, and they make these pretty incredible offers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many stories I've written about exactly that scenario, where basically someone finishes their dream home and then the right pile of money walks into the room and makes the offer.
Yeah, like we'll agonize 4 months over their kitchen design back and forth with them, and then like, really, you're not going to live in that?
Yeah, I thought you would be a little more attached to that. And I know one of the conversations we were having in our prep calls is, the buyer today in Miami is making this their full-time home, and that's also kind of changing design considerations, changing aesthetics, floor plan. I mean, how have your designs kind of evolved around that changing demographic?
To practice in Miami is interesting because you have to know all these different cultures, right? I mean, the way a South American family lives in the house is different from a European family, from the California tech client coming in. And I guess that's where the excitement comes back in. If we were doing the same thing over and over, it would be pretty boring. So getting to know those clients and just the different cultures involved, And if we do the same house in the Middle East, it's a whole different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Architecture in Miami is not boring.
That is the truth. I was thinking, in preparation for this, of how many really incredible architectural eras Miami's already had. I mean, you got like Mediterranean revival, like historic properties, Art Deco. The modern movement has like really lived here for so long now. I mean, there's so much construction going on. There's so many kind of place-defining homes being built. How do you think this architectural era will be kind of remembered in Miami?
So I think Miami is very interesting because depend on the location, you can have different architecture, different people, different buyer. So there is a huge evolution between Coconut Grove, Coral Gable, Miami Beach, Key Biscayne, or other location. Their house completely different, floor plan are completely different because let's say Coconut Grove, Coral Gable is very family oriented. So you do like a lot of like study room, things for around the kids. When you go to Miami Beach, you're more like European people, European style. They are coming more like, I don't say party because it's a thing, maybe more like going out, you know. So they love to have like big space, big living room. So how they're gonna remember Miami architecture? I think is just the beginning of something to remember, because you're gonna have like more design, more like architect like Ralph and Max doing new things, new shape, new curve, new like maybe soon we're gonna go back to something more like traditional, I guess, with like no flat roof, more like traditional roof. You're gonna go more contemporary, and I think the best house now is the one you want to stay inside and live forever. Mm-hmm. Not like buying for 2 years and then resell and flip it. This is, I think, what Miami gonna go.
Yeah, like legacy homes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Max, Ralph, what do you think about this kind of era of architecture for Miami?
I mean, there are cycles to design, and you mentioned some of the architectural stylistic eras. I do think that, you know, it was probably the very late 90s, early 2000s where modernism started to creep back in, you know, and was accepted and was desired. A lot of that can get bastardized right now too, and you're seeing a lot of that, and I think that helps fuel a transition, you know, into that next era. What it is exactly, you know, I don't know. I don't think we're going straight back to the Mediterranean revival. I think there is going to be much more traditional influences coming in. But the challenge for us is to make it real, still make it design forward, and still be sellable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ralph, anything to add there?
The only thing I have to add to that is innovation. That's what's being brought to, it's being brought from Miami to the world, actually. We're very innovative here. And we're setting the trends. Instead of we copying the trends, we're setting them. So that's the most I can take from this era of architecture.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I think Miami has just been completely thrust into the world stage, and, you know, everyone's paying attention to what's going on here. Max, you said something funny in the green room, that Miami is where the world's best architects come to do their worst work.
I said they used to do that, you know.
You think they've cleaned up their act?
I'm not going to name drop, but, you know, I think there's a lot of cases where you would have architects from around the country, around the world, and they would come here, and then their designs would encounter the hurricane wind codes and product acceptances and that stuff, and it could really dumb things down. So it is important to engage the local architects. I think you would agree, Ralph?
I could not agree more with that
Yeah.
statement.
Do you have any advice for, you know, out-of-town global architects who should be bringing their A game, what they need to be doing to...
They should call me. Sorry, Ralph.
Stay away.
Well, great. I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you so much, you guys. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.